I think the UK media is really terrified that Harry and Meghan will disappear. Because if Harry and Meghan disappear, entire news medias, online sites, etc., will just implode. I mean, take a guy like Dan Wooten. If Harry and Meghan disappear, he's in big trouble because apparently all he talks about is Harry and Meghan. I think that there's a lot of talk about Harry and Meghan's relevance and so on in the media, but that in and of itself, they're doing that to make sure that, first of all, Harry and Meghan never disappear. Because, there's always a risk that Harry and Meghan could decide that, this has been really interesting, it's been really nice, but they've had enough and they just want to live a totally quiet life, reclusive life, out of the public eye. They can do it. I mean, if Brigitte Bardot can disappear, which she did, Brigitte Bardot, the French actor, very famous in the 50s and 60s. She's still alive. She lives in Central Pay. But nobody ever sees her because they got to a point in her life where she just couldn't even walk down the street. It was so much attention, right? And she wanted to be irrelevant. She did not want, she was the most relevant woman in film and in French culture for many decades, and she didn't want it. And so she made herself irrelevant by disappearing. And so if she could do it, certainly anybody could do it. And if Meghan and Harry want to disappear, they can. I think it's the biggest fear for a lot of people in the media today, especially people who cover the royal family. People who cover the quote unquote royal experts, if you will, who cover the royal family. If Harry and Meghan were to disappear and truly become irrelevant, especially with the way things are going right now in the royal family, where there's nobody of any relevance to talk about, no one of any relevance to talk about, not even the king. Nobody cares about his cancer. Nobody cares about, when he goes to Balmoral or, whether he lives in Buckingham Palace or wherever that other place he's lived in. Nobody cares, right? So it's irrelevant where he lives. It's irrelevant where he takes his holidays, right? And he's the king. And again, as I said in the video before this one, the other members, Kate and William, are not or have not been stepping up for going on 2 years. If you really think about it, they pulled a quiet quitting, as I said before, but nobody ever listens to me. They quit quietly. This is a form of quiet quitting that Kate and William have done, using her announcement that cancer had been found or whatever. She has quit for whatever her reason, this job description of being the entertainment for the press, the UK tabloid press, and the main press as well. And can you really blame her? She gets bored with her own self. I mean, all of the articles are the same, focused on her polka dot dress or, her sporty wellies or whatever. And but there's really nothing that she's actually, not even to launch something. Launch, even if it fails, launch something, do something, go somewhere, do something. There's nothing. So she doesn't want to play this game anymore, Kate Middleton. And so she's quite quit, and she wants to be less and less relevant in this sort of discourse by the zeitgeist that are just obsessed for more and more content about the people they want content from, which in this case is certain members of the royal family. So Kate has made herself irrelevant. Except, okay, once in a while she may come out and wave at royal ascot or Wimbledon or something like that. But beyond that, she has nothing to contribute. She has no relevance other than her polka dot dresses, and she doesn't want to play that game anymore. So she just disappeared, right? I think that the biggest fear that the British press have at this moment in time is that Harry and Meghan will do something similar, that they will actually make themselves irrelevant by disappearing. And that's why the British press keeps talking about Harry and Meghan's relevance, because it's almost like they're taunting Harry and Meghan to keep proving their relevance, because like to prove their relevance, they have to remain in the public eye where people can see them, where people can know what they're doing, where people can talk about them and write about them and obsess about them and so on and so forth. They must be visible in order to be relevant, right? And they can easily choose for their own reasons to become irrelevant by just not being in the public eye. And this is the biggest fear of the British press, because if Harry and Meghan do that, they will be out of business. Literally. If Harry and Meghan do that, they will be out of business. Now, Harry and Meghan are not always going to be young and interesting. And what they're banking on is that by the time Harry and Meghan get old, in the next, say, 15 years or so, you have a new crop of royals who will be coming up. Charles and Kate's children will have some scandals, hopefully, that they can write about. Harry and Meghan's children, oh, they can't wait to get their tentacles into Archie and Lilibet Diana. And so what they're doing is they're trying to keep Harry and Meghan in the spotlight as long as necessary to get to the next generation of people. But make no mistake, the reason they keep harping on Harry and Meghan's relevance is because they know that if Harry and Meghan make themselves irrelevant by disappearing from view, so that the press just has nothing to talk about. I mean, not even a pair of shoes that Meghan is wearing. They just have nothing. Then they're going to be out of business. Rupert Murdoch will be declaring bankruptcy. A lot of channels on YouTube would there would just be no content, because how many times can you rework the same old content that Harry and Meghan left the royal family in 2020, and what terrible people they were for doing that? I mean, everybody has heard that before. So they need constant new content. I mean, even if it's as simple as, Meghan launches a new company, and even if the company doesn't succeed, it doesn't really matter. Anything at all that they do keeps the narrative going, and it keeps selling the papers. So they need Harry and Meghan visible because they need to make money. So that is why they keep, it's like they're taunting Harry and Meghan by saying, oh, you're not relevant, because secretly the press and the journalists and the reporters are terrified that Harry and Meghan could decide to just step off the stage and make themselves irrelevant the way, Kate Middleton did, right? By just disappearing, and then they really would be left with nothing. So they're just using reverse psychology to taunt them into staying visible and proving their relevance. You see, it's a very diabolical little game that they're playing. It's like reverse psychology. Oh, you're not relevant. Oh, you're not relevant. So Harry and Meghan will be forced to keep proving it by staying visible and keep doing things to entertain them that they can write about and critique and so on. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, that's kind of my take on the whole thing. What do you think about it?